This is how much money I made on YouTube in my first full month. My journey on YouTube begins with the idea of wanting to work for myself. And I think those of you who are sitting there right now watching this video, you're probably thinking, yeah, it must be nice to work for yourself because, you get to work on your own schedule, do whatever you want with your time. Obviously, you're not just going to goof off and do nothing because you have to make a living. But if you're working for yourself, whatever work you put into your business is what you're going to reap out of it. And that's kind of the idea that I have when I wanted to work for myself. So throughout my journey to get to this point where I am right now on YouTube, there are 3 significant events. The first one was starting my own business. The second one was being laid off. And the third one was getting married. If you guys have any guesses of how much money I made on YouTube in the first month, leave them in the comments down below. So my journey really starts off with starting my own business. And how this happened was right out of university, I pursued my own startup business and I actually had a co-founder to do this with. And what we were doing in this business was that we were creating a medical device that would treat and track soft tissue injuries. And for those of you who are in the athletics world, when you have an injury, you really want to recover as soon as possible. So we were capitalizing on this idea that we could build a product that could help people heal a lot quicker and get back to their training or to the sports that they love. So how we were going to accomplish this mission of accelerating healing for soft tissue injuries was to build a band that would administer infrared therapy as well as track the range of motion of the patient as they recover. And how infrared therapy works in short is that your body will absorb infrared light and it will activate certain biological paths and it will increase the blood flow to that area. And basically that would accelerate the healing because when you bring more blood into the area, it's able to help cellular repair. The first 6 months of this business were a little bit dry. I was the only hardware engineer on the team, so basically I was building prototypes out of 3D printed parts and just soldering my own circuit boards. And then after 6 months, we actually hit a break. We won a pitch competition which gave us $50,000. And after that, we won another $70,000 and another $20,000 on top of that. So we were kind of rolling in dough. We had about $140,000 in the bank and we ended up hiring 3 more employees. However, funding quickly went dry with 3 employees. And if you guys are working right now, you know how much employees cost. Think of your own salary. If you're being paid around $50,000 a year, with $140K, we weren't able to support 3 salaries for a year, let alone our own. So we ended up having to let go of everyone because we had no money to pay them, we didn't have a product, and we weren't able to raise any money. So for about a year after that, we were sort of floundering around, not knowing what to do. But one day we hit another lucky break where we applied for this accelerator called Y Combinator and we happened to get in. And for those of you who do not know what Y Combinator is, it's basically the startup where Dropbox, Airbnb, Stripe, and Cruise, they all came out of this accelerator and they are very successful companies. So once we got into this accelerator, we also heard a lot of other news from local startups in our area, how they raised a lot of funding. And they typically raise anywhere from $2 million to even $20 million after going through this program. So we're super pumped to go down there. And this accelerator was in California as well. So when we flew down there, we kind of expected the 3 months to go fairly smoothly. We'd come back to Canada with maybe $5 million in the bank. Things didn't exactly turn out that way. Our product wasn't that great. The investors didn't like it that much. And we ended up raising a total of $0. I kid you not, we raised no money at all. My co-founder said that, there are some investors interested because she took care of all the business stuff. The business really went nowhere after that. And 4 months later, I ended up leaving. Although the startup experience didn't really get me anywhere and I ended up quitting, there are a few important lessons that I learned. And the first one is you want to make what people want. Basically, you want to give value to anyone who you're selling something to or trying to get clicks from, like on YouTube. If you don't provide any value, then what you're offering or what your business is ultimately going to fail. So how I try to provide value on my channel is to be authentic with what I do. So all my stock research I share with you. I don't try to hold anything back. I also share my WEALTHSIMPLE portfolio, all the investments I make, whether they're successful or not, and what I've learned from them. So these are things that I think that you guys could take away, and this is the value that I believe I provide as a YouTuber. The second thing I learned from my startup is that whatever you're doing, you really have to believe in it. So for the startup, if I were to be honest about the whole thing, I didn't exactly believe in the product. The science was kind of there because there were some large machines that clinics would use that would administer infrared therapy. However, a lot of the scientific papers, they didn't actually have any sort of conclusive results to show that infrared therapy works 100% of the time. It's a bit of a pseudoscience in my opinion, in that, we don't fully understand how it works. And me being an engineer in the field trying to make this device, I should have been an expert. However, I didn't actually believe in the product and I didn't have any sort of facts to back it up. So ultimately, I didn't believe in the business and, maybe that's why it failed. But in this YouTube channel, what I'm teaching here about investing, I fully believe in it. So I 100% believe in investing because I'm doing it myself. And like I said before, I'm showing you what I'm doing in my investing. And me doing this YouTube channel is not just to sell you some investing course or sell you different things. It's really trying to educate you guys how to invest, because I have a passion for personal finance. And I think that, there's a huge problem in the world right now where everyone's just racking up a lot of debt or just living paycheck to paycheck. And I think that education is the way to go because, when you think back to your childhood education, were you ever really taught how to pay your bills, how to budget, how to even invest? Likely not, unless you went to some private school. So here on this channel, I'm trying to teach you guys how to do these things because they're important in life, and I don't think anyone can dispute that. Now moving forward past my startup, after I left my startup, I ended up applying for some jobs and landed a job at North. And what North did was that they created smart glasses for the everyday user to take around and essentially not need to pull out your phone to check the time, check text messages. You could just see them right at your eyes. And when I first got the offer to North, I was super excited about it because they're essentially like a Silicon Valley company, but located in Kitchener-Waterloo where I live. And there aren't many companies like that. And what I mean by a Silicon Valley looking like company is that we got free lunches, we got free dinners, we got drinks in the kitchen, as well as, the office looks super nice and modern. They did all the startup-y cool things that you would see, like, they had beers during the town halls. So all in all, the perks were amazing when I was there. After working a couple months there, I wasn't really finding my footing there and didn't think that I could really excel. But lucky for me, or I guess you could say kind of unlucky, I was laid off 2 months after joining the job. And that's a very short time, and it wasn't because of performance. It was more so because the company had different business changes that they made and they had to lay off a third of the company. So basically about 150 people got let go. But the great thing about all that was that I got a severance package, and it was for 8 weeks and I only worked there for 2 months. So basically worked 2 months and got paid for 4. Not too bad. And after getting laid off, that's when I started thinking, jobs aren't that stable. I should start looking for some sort of side hustle to do that is sort of like a plan B. And that's when I really began YouTube. However, if we go back a bit to North and what I learned from North is that the one thing North did really well was their marketing. And if you look at their website and just how their office was laid out, it's all about the visual appeal and trying to have the best user experience. And that's one thing that I really valued when I was at North and learning from that, because I took that into YouTube and tried to create the best user experience that I can with the time allowed. Because on YouTube, one thing I know is like, if you have crappy audio or crappy lighting, these make your videos less appealing. At the end of the day, as a YouTuber, you're trying to get more clicks on your videos. So you want to do everything you can in order to increase the engagement rate as well as make your viewers happy. So here are a few things that I implemented onto my YouTube channel to help it grow from 0 subscribers all the way to around 3,500 right now. Doing things like, buying these lighting kits that I have here, getting a better camera, getting a microphone, make my thumbnails more interesting, make the titles a bit more clickbaity, but also deliver on them in my videos. And lastly, I edit my videos. And the editing part is pretty important. Things like the little sound effects that you see or the transitions, those are really to draw the viewers back into your video. Because if you're just talking all the time and nothing's really happening on the screen, people end up falling asleep, just like in lectures. And I know that, for myself, my voice isn't super interesting. And I've got comments that my voice is very boring or speak very slowly. But these are different techniques that I use to spice it up a little bit. I'm still going to have a relatively boring voice, and I'm working on that right now, but I can't change that overnight. But these things that I mentioned earlier are things that you can do immediately to get immediate results. So after my time at North, what happened was I was looking for jobs for another 2 months or so, and that's when I started my YouTube channel. If you go back to March of 2019 on my channel, you can see that I posted 3 different videos there. And if you watch all my videos from then till now, and I'm going to keep them all up, you can definitely see how the channel has grown, how the quality of the videos have grown. You know, some of the videos that I had back then were just super dark, or the audio was terrible, or, you know, things like, you know, lighting was bad. So if you want to start a YouTube channel in 2020, you can look at my past videos and just see the progression over time. And basically once my video quality started to pick up, the subscribers came in, the views came in, the watch hours came in, and finally the revenue came in actually. One thing you'll notice though is that I had 3 videos in March of 2019, and then I stopped for about 9 months. And that's because I ended up getting married. So I had things to plan like the wedding as well as buying an apartment, and then all the new things that come with the first couple months of marriage. And I didn't really have time for YouTube, as well as I found a full-time job. So, you know, life was pretty hectic, and I dropped YouTube because after 3 videos, I felt very unmotivated and things weren't really going anywhere. Now, fast forwarding to January of 2020, I came up with a new business idea that I pitched to my wife, and I was like, hey, we should start this new business. And it was basically a Shopify business to sell some sort of product. And she was like,
you know, you do a lot of things and don't finish many of them. So why don't you just go back to one of your other businesses that you started before, like YouTube, and finish that?
So I was like, you know, YouTube wasn't going that well, but she had a camera that I could use, so camera quality could go up, so maybe let's give it another shot. So in January 24th or January 25th, I posted my first video of 2020. And since then, I've gained around 3,500 subscribers and roughly 150,000 views. And it took me roughly 5 months in order to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark and the 4,000 watch hour mark. And I got monetized on May 27th. And I made a video about that. If you want to check that out, you can click on that link right up here. It'll show you what I made in the first week of YouTube. And that was roughly, I think, $60 or so. And in June 2020, this was my first full month of being monetized on YouTube. And how much I made in June was $654.52. But that's what Google AdSense reports. If we go to YouTube Analytics, it estimates that I made $521.73. But Google AdSense should be more correct, so I expect to receive roughly $654 in my bank account for the month of June. The last tip I want to give you guys before we end off this video is that if you're going to start YouTube, you have to be willing to fail fast. And basically what I mean by failing fast is that, you know, you want to film your videos, put them out there, and they could be a total flop. Like you can look at my previous videos right at the beginning. I look back at them and kind of cringe right now when I watch them. You know, they're super dark, the voice was terrible, the video quality was terrible. Everything about those videos, I would chalk them up to failures. However, I failed fast because I would just put those videos out and do another video in the next 2 or 3 days. I didn't wait around to, you know, shoot the perfect shots or have the perfect script. I would just get whatever I did in an hour of filming and try to edit it, put it out there and see what stuck. And that's basically my strategy right now. Because, you know, if you don't actually put anything out there, you don't learn from it. So I think if you're planning to start a YouTube channel, you should definitely just film your videos, edit them, and throw it out there and, you know, leave it. Don't try to spend 2 months just perfecting it and redoing it over and over again. And for those of you who are interested in the financial space and how much CPM you could expect to receive, the CPM I had for the month of June was around $16.60. And this is because I'm in the financial education space, and this space pays a fairly good CPM rate versus things like vlogging or cooking channels or gaming channels. Those tend to have lower CPMs, maybe from the $5 to $10 range. So if you enjoyed this video, please smash that thumbs up button just to help me out on this channel to promote my content, as well as if you have any other comments about my YouTube analytics or want to know anything else about my journey on YouTube, leave those down below and I'll be willing to answer all the questions that you guys have. As well as click that subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to continue seeing updates on my YouTube journey and how much revenue I'm making each month. Keep up the grind and have a great day.